We are live. Okay. Yep. We are officially live, and I'm going to share the live right now. I'm going to tag you guys in it. So that you guys can see it as well, okay?
Okay. And hello, ladies. I haven't said hello yet, but hey.
Hello, Miss Waldon.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay.
Good.
So I shared it. You should be able to see it. If you're looking on Facebook from another source, you should be able to see that I shared it and tagged you guys in it.
Yeah.
Teresa is here.
Good
Hey,
afternoon,
Teresa.
everybody. My apologies.
Hi, Teresa.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sor. How are you?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So we are currently live. So I want to first and foremost say thank you, ladies, for joining me on today. It is April the 6th, correct? It's April the 6th. Today is looked at, I saw, as Autism Acceptance Day. Or and you know, this is also Autism the Day of the Blue. And so you see, Miss Candy got our blue on, and I know that Teresa
Listen.
has her blue on, you know, and you know, and so this month is Autism Awareness Month or Autism Acceptance Month, and I was talking to my wife a couple of weeks ago, and I was, you know, she's a social worker and a therapist, and she'll get into her more of her bio later. But I was talking to her, and she was talking to me about, you know, what she's dealing with the young people in the schools, and I was just like, you know, there's something about autism that has literally struck me this entire year. From last year, I have been encountering a lot of autistic people, kids, grown people, you know. And Miss Tori, you know my story from the beginning of when I, you know,
Yeah.
this captivated my life back in,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say 2014, 15, something like that,
I was gonna
16
say,
maybe.
I was gonna say 15.
Yeah. And so I said I want to do something because it's not enough to just make a shirt. It's not enough to just, you know, it's not enough to it's to just do one thing and let that be it. You know, even if it's for the month, it's something that some people these kids live and you guys live every single day. You know, and so I said I want to do something that's going to bring the conversation forward
Right.
because for some reason in 2024 the topic is still taboo,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
And so, yeah, and so I reached out to you guys. When we had that conversation that day, babe, you can attest. I called Tori, Teresa, and Bridget that night. And then Teresa said, I got a friend, such and such and such. And then I reached out to Miss Chandra the
Hmm.
next day. And you know, I could have had more people on. I could have had, you know, I searched for some men, which is going to be my next goal to
Mm-hmm.
find some autism men because I know
Mm-hmm.
there's some out there. I
Absolutely.
found one, and you know, we need more men to be advocates for this thing, and
Yeah.
so that's my story with it. You know, that's really my heart when it comes down to Tori and your son, Teresa and her son, Bridget and her daughter. They have just been my heart for years. And children is my heart regardless. And so, being that this is Autism Awareness Month, Autism Acceptance Month, let's have the conversation, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Miss Tori Telfair, who is a parent and an all inclusive advocate. We have Miss Chandra McKinney Clark, Candy, who is the founder of Candy's Causes or Candy's Calls. We have Miss Teresa McCrae, who is a mental health professional. And my dear sister, we have Bridget, who'll be on later, Bridget Brown Burke, who is a educator. She is also an autism mom
Mhm.
and an advocate. And then we have my co-host, my lovely lady in yellow,
Hey.
my wife, who is a social worker and a child therapist in the field of just education and everything. So
Mhm.
I want to start with Miss Tori. Can you please tell the people about how you got into this? What was the first introduction with autism?
Okay, well, hello everyone. Thank you for the invite. Mr. Walden and Mrs. Walden, thank you for taking this charge and having a heart to impact the community, first of all, and reach out to parents as myself and the others that are on here. And then also the beautiful entrepreneur on here, Miss Chandra. Thank you all. Well, of course, education by trade. That's my career. I'm an ESC specialist, was an ESC specialist. And I used to find myself behind the other side of the table, giving tissue to parents and being the one to type the information in about the diagnosis, whatever the psych reports say, and listening to the parents cry their heart out. And I was like, it's going to be okay. We got them. It's not the end of the world. We're going to work on some things. And this is the best thing. We want to make sure they have their accommodations and receive, all the modifications that they needed. So I was used to encouraging and building
Yeah.
up and supporting families and writing it and, supporting teachers and all of that. And then I got exciting news that I am pregnant. I'm like, oh my God, again. So it was 10 years later. And then my doctor was like, oh, it's some abnormality in your blood work and the measurement of the brain of the fetus, So I need you to go take some tests, go to a high risk doctor, do all of this. And so, with the background that I have, being born and raised in Mount Bethel and standing on faith and talking to Pastor Glover about what was said, I stood on faith and I said, well, God, they say Down syndrome. They say it may be something serious. I said, well, if he come with 3 eyes, 2 ears, 5 fingers, he's mine, So whatever the abnormality was going to be, I was ready for it. And I told God he could trust me with it. And he came out fine. He was a beautiful 8 pound, 3 ounces, I think 3 ounces, baby boy. Everything normal, laughing, cooing, crying, just handsome as all. I didn't see anything, didn't, and wasn't looking for anything because I said, oh, I beat the odds. They said Down syndrome. They said it was going to be something else. Nothing. Well, around about 1.5, it was just some awkwardness, and I picked up on it, but I said, well, I still beat the odds. I'm looking at what it could have been.
Right.
So I wasn't focused on the small delays because I thought I had beat the game. Down syndrome versus a little nonverbal. I'll take that, So, but then as time progresses, months goes by, I just started seeing him just wouldn't look at me, flapping, the hands, the agitation, no lack of communication, no social skills. Preschool starting to call now, He's not doing, you know, he won't socialize. He cries a lot. He screams a lot. He doesn't want you to touch him. He has his sensory, he's very sensitive. So those are the
This was
keywords.
about 1 years old. 1 years
Yeah, this
old.
was around going on 2. Because I said
Going on
months
2.
that's going on.
Okay.
So it's 2. So I'm going now. I'm keying now. I'm looking and I'm listening. So I'm going into the DD class, which is a place class, which I'm over. And I'm looking at our developmentally delayed. I'm looking at our kids, and I'm just trying to weigh the options and looking and comparing contrast with my baby. And then I start looking at old videos of my daughter. And that's when it hit. I said, wait a minute. She was doing this way at 1. He's not even doing this at 2.
Mm-hmm.
So with the contacts that I had in the school board, I had some good contacts, good friends. I was blessed and favored not to have to go through the process of waiting. I called. I did an alarm. Hey, they was like, oh yeah, bring the fiddlers. Let's take care of this. Let's take that. We did the audio booth, speech pathologist, psychologist, the test, everything. And then they called me in and they said, Tori, it's autism. And I received it like a champion because I said, I knew it, but I'm going to skip forward because we know the signs, we know everything. But what I had to do is almost cliche, like the song said. I had to encourage myself because I said, I sat on the other side of the table. Now I'm on the other side of the table. And I had to listen to what these people were telling me about myself. And now I could feel what those parents was feeling when I used to tell them it was going to be okay. And I had to trust another professional because I wanted those parents, and they did trust me in the past. So to move forward faster, he was blessed to get into Baldwin, which it was just kicking off their preschool at Nova. It was for autism students, not autism students, teachers who want a profession in autism with a master's degree. So he was at one of the best at the time. And that played a major part in early prevention for Tori. So you don't get in there to 3. He got in there 2 years and almost, I think, 6 months. So he was in there 6 months in advance because of unmerited favor. So to me, that was a game changer, plus the prayers, plus faith. But nobody could have told me that Tori would be doing what Tori is doing now, and doing the things and talking and a gift for gab, and just I just tell people keep living. That's all I can say with this autism, because my spectrum blew my mind.
Right.
I understand the other spectrum, and some things are not as pretty as what I'm saying, but I got one of those good ends of it, if I could say that. All of it is a good. You know what I'm trying to say, Dr. Wall? All of it's a good end, but it blew my mind.
And I was just listening to you, Tori, and I'm hearing you say, like, you were an ESC specialist, so you had somewhat of an advantage because you knew about what services could be offered and things like that. But there are a lot of parents that don't have the know-how of what to do. So I would love to hear from some of our thank you so much for sharing as well. I think that was awesome. I want to get into some more. And I know you shared so much, you kind of jumped ahead, but we want to get back into that. So we'll go ahead and listen to Miss Candy, kind of how you got into the world of autism.
Absolutely. So thank you for sharing your story, Tori. You know, I am an advocate just like you. And I have known what autism was for many years. I have several family members who have autism, as well as some different family friends. So autism is something that has been personally near and dear to my heart. I have a son who is neurodiverse, so I can relate to you know, many of the things that, you know, you kind of spoke about. I worked for Florida Atlantic University's Center for Autism and Center for Autism and Related Disabilities Department. My apologies. And I was an outreach specialist. And in that role, I basically was able to advocate for parents. I supported an initiative that was called the Black Underrepresentation in Autism Initiative, where I basically brought awareness to autism, you know, specifically in the Black African American communities, where I talked about, you know, the delayed diagnosis of autism, often the misdiagnosis of autism in our community, and the underrepresentation of Black children within, you know, autism research and the autism realm. And, you know, I'm blessed to be able to continue to be an advocate with my organization, Candy's Cause. I'm a big proponent of networking. I believe, you know, your network can be your net worth. You know, us as Africans, you know, we had our village, and we still continue to have our village here in the United States. So having a village and support is very important, as you know, you just spoke about. And so I, as a woman of faith, you know, I'm a supporter. I'm here to advocate for parents. I'm here to advocate also for children, specifically children in the Black and other marginalized communities. Spread awareness about you know, autism, and encourage acceptance of autism. And just, you know, provide parents with different resources and support. So I enjoy hearing different people's stories. You were definitely blessed, Tori, to have an early diagnosis for your son, because that is unfortunately not the norm, as I'm sure all of you all know. Um, you know, so we just, again, I'm glad that we're here today to spread awareness, to continue to advocate for this community, to bring acceptance, so that you know, our babies, if they are on the spectrum, so that, you know, they can get the services and supports that they need.
You know,
Absolutely.
just to go back to, I like, I'm starting to get it now. It's like over the years we've gotten the awareness.
Hmm.
Now it's time to bring on the acceptance, you
Right.
know?
Hmm.
And I love that because everyone wants to be included and accepted and understood and loved and valued. And so I'm aware. I
Hmm.
see it. Now
Hmm.
it's time for me to work on trying to accept that this is the norm. This is what it
Absolutely.
is, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, the
Maybe you want to go
CDC
to,
has changed the diagnosis number to every 1 in 36 people have autism
yeah,
now. And so
yeah.
that number
Yeah.
is we're closing the gap. So yeah, just like you said, it's
hmm
the acceptance of it.
Yeah, I saw that statistic, Candy, on the CDC, 1 in 36, but
Hmm.
also in that 1 in 36 include all races of people. So
Hmm.
I imagine that our Black community, our Black children are, you know, lower in that 1 to 36 ratio. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? So absolutely.
Absolutely. But it's unfortunate that we don't have the research to give that data and those statistics, because that information is critical and it's important for our community.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Okay, so thank you for sharing, Candy. I think we'll go ahead and hear from Miss Teresa McCrae on how she came into the world of autism.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
I parked so you guys don't have to worry about me. I am in the car. I had a little family emergency I'm dealing with, but all is well. I'm parked and I'm ready to engage
Thank
in
you
this
so much.
conversation.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
you're welcome, my brother. I love you. Uh, well, I actually, my son now is my Brandon. I say, hey, Brandon. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hi,
man.
Brandon.
Brandon is actually 30 years old now. So when I embarked on this journey, um, I was at the wonderful young tender age of 19. So it was my first child. I did not know what to do, and we really did not have anything within my family genetics that was prevalent to what I was about to go through. So it was a lot of going to different doctors trying to figure it out, and talking to different people that they really didn't know. And at that time, um, when they finally told me about what was going on with my son, there were about 8 cases in the state of Florida. So, and then in the black race, we had one other child here in Florida, but that child sadly passed away. So they told me, I happened to go to a hospital. It was Holy Cross Hospital. I'll never forget it because I couldn't stop the child from crying. Every time I touched him, something was aching him, something was bothering him. He couldn't. It was always failure to thrive when I took him to the doctor, but he couldn't quite grasp any of his milestones, and he wasn't eating properly. He had pica at the time. um, he wouldn't Different textures bothered him, different sounds bothered him, and I never seen this before at my age, or nobody in my family had actually seen it before either, so we didn't know what we were dealing with, because back then they were calling it MR, or just the R word that we all hate to use. So I really find it offensive, so I won't even say it. But, and it was just taboo, they would rather, oh, cousin John, he just a little special, and we just put him in the back room or something like that.
Yeah.
But just so happened I got lucky because I refused to leave the hospital emergency room one night after they told me there was nothing they can do, and to take him home. And a doctor that specialized in Williams-Burns syndrome. He was down in Florida from Virginia. He was doing a conference, and he walked over to me and he introduced himself, and he's like, "Your son has Williams syndrome." I said, "No, my son's name is Brandon." And he says, "No, not his name. I'm telling you what's wrong with him, because Williams syndrome, it actually presented almost similar to Down syndrome, where they had their own special facial features. They had their own special, it was a heart defect, and it was delays in certain areas, but it was different because children with Williams syndrome seem to have very high abilities with their creative mind. They weren't so quick with the academic side, but the creative mind and the social ability, they were dead on it. So we got that diagnosis because his name was Paul Binky. I'll never forget him. Um, so he helped me with that. But then later on in life, maybe around Brandon was probably about 10, 11. That's when people start saying autism, ASD. They started kind of throwing that around. And then Brandon was actually tested and he got a dual diagnosis. So I got a double whammy. So I'm like, okay, um, I'm going to handle this as if, he's not basically, there is no, it's not a stumbling block. It's not a stopping for him. I wanted him to have the best possible life, without thinking I'm special, so therefore I can't. I wanted him to think I'm special, therefore I can do more. And as he progressed through life, I found myself volunteering a lot with Autism Speaks and Autism Spectrum, and there was a foundation that I helped start called Lindsay Ray Foundation, where they started doing sports and more socializing and things of that nature. And I was actually in Section 8 housing. I managed Section 8 housing for years. And one of the founders of a foundation that I had that I volunteered with Brandon, he asked me, was I interested in working with children with autism and children with disabilities, mental disabilities. And I'm like, well, I never did it before, but they seem to have a liking to me. And I used to joke about it and tell people, I think they saw something in me that was similar to them. That's why they took to me. So we were on the same wavelength. And so when I started doing the group homes, it kind of, that was the kickoff to more advancement. I did group homes. Then I started doing care coordination. I started doing mental health therapies, and it kind of catapulted me into what I wanted to do in my life. And I'm happy that I'm in a place where I can not only get the information to help my son, but I'm actually getting the education in order to help other people that are coming up behind me that did not or do not understand, especially in my own community, because they don't know the questions to ask. Therefore, they don't get the help that they need. And then their children go without. And we get kind of labeled as behavioral children. They get thrown into certain classes, they get ignored, they don't get the services and all the help that's out there. They don't even know what's out there for them. And then most of their children have grown up and been and aged out of the school system. So now they're adults sitting at home in the back room watching television when there's all of these different services that they could have been partaking into all of their years in within the school system. Like, I'm still running into families that have adult children that never knew what an IEP was, or a 504 or APD. They don't know these labels. They don't know these initials. And it's like foreign to them. Like, what is that about? And it's something that they really should have been partaking in when the child was embarking into elementary school. So it's sad to me that this is still going on. That's why I'm such an advocate for it. And I try so hard to go into underserved communities more, because we really don't know the questions to ask, and nobody is volunteering the information for us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Teresa. I think your story is really one that is helpful because you've been in this thing for 30 years or more. And what age did you say Brandon got his dual diagnosis?
His dual diagnosis didn't come until he was about 10, 11 years
10.
old.
Okay.
But he was 18 months when he got his first diagnosis of Williams-Burns syndrome.
Okay. That is incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And lastly, we have Miss Bridget Brown Burks. She is an educator and another autism mom. So, Bridget, tell us how you got in the autism world.
And this is one of my favorites because I just saw you and I just lit up.
Yes, I had to change positions while everyone was talking because she's having a little moment right now. And is the phone or the iPad loud behind me that I can move again?
You're good.
Can you hear
You're
that?
fine.
You're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you? How are you? I'm enjoying the story before I speak. Hey, Tori. I know I ran into Tori and came with Tori because we were both Mount Bethel members at the time when I first started experiencing some signs and red flags of autism with my daughter. I really enjoyed Teresa's story as well with her son, and just like Miss Amber said that Teresa, with her son being of age, she kind of like give of the other parents some hope. When you start seeing them older, because right now my baby is 10. Fantasia, she is 10. I am her mother, of course, and I started a foundation for all things autism because of the distress and the need to know and the lostness and the loneliness that I felt when I started this process. So, Dantasia, before, when I was pregnant with her, I was in my 30s, and I heard Tori say that they saw some signs and things like that. Well, with me, I did have to go to other doctors, but they were not specific. They just told me that everything looks fine, but we see a little dot on this screen. No one talked about the dot. They said it's so small and so tiny. We don't. It doesn't really show us anything. But I did want to at least tell you, just in case something does come up. Didn't think about it. Wasn't worried. I had a great pregnancy. I had her maybe 2 weeks early, but she was still full term. But during the process of her turn between the ages of 9 months and I want to say 13 months, a little over 1, I noticed that, she wasn't doing things as swiftly as, my other child. But, I know I'm talking about students, that's the educator in me. I'm already thinking I'm in
Mhm.
school. All
Yeah.
kids are different. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I just started saying, well, maybe we shouldn't pick her up so much. Maybe we shouldn't pick her up so much so that she can, crawl and try to do some things on her own. And what started to
Mhm.
happen is that I started noticing that even when I called her name, she wouldn't look at me. She
Mhm.
she didn't do so much of the flapping, but she did a whole lot of yelling to get their attention.
Mhm.
And by between 9 months and the age of 1, they're saying some words. So she did say
Hmm.
Mhm.
daddy, and yes, those were the 2 words that she was saying. And then all of a sudden you didn't hear them anymore. So my
Mhm.
baby didn't start out not talking. She started talking and then stopped. Like the
Mhm.
verbiage and the vocabulary, you wouldn't hear it anymore. So
Yeah.
I became concerned. I was said something to my husband, and of course, at that moment, he didn't have the knowledge that he has now. He was like, "Well, all kids different. Don't compare her to to our other daughter. And I wasn't so much trying to compare. The educator in me was like, something. I don't believe that something is right. Something is missing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I went to doing my own little searching, and even though I was the educator at the school board, I'm more so I'm not primary, more intermediate, 5th grade. That was my niche at that time.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where to go. So I just went to calling around and asking questions and Googling this and looking up stuff. And I started, finally, I started her in preschool at the age of 2. My mom kept her up until she was 2 years old. At the age of 2, I started her in preschool at Little Bethel Lights. They started working with her. I just want to make sure she be around other kids. And they started
Mhm.
having concerns as well, saying that she wasn't playing with anyone. She was a sweet and calm child, but she rather play by herself. She doesn't really
Mhm.
repeat some of the things they're asking her to do. She doesn't make eye contact with them, and all of those things were red flags for autism.
Mhm.
So I went and got her tested at the Dan Marino Children's Hospital. They did the eyes and everything like that. And they said, well, she is showing signs of autism. So she was diagnosed at the
At what
age
age?
of at the
Mhm.
age of 3,
Okay.
early. Didn't do a neurological assessment. And I'm gonna tell you now, even now at the age of 10, I still haven't let them put her under that skin. I still haven't done it.
Mhm.
We just been feeding off of the signs that we're seeing. And
Yeah.
she was diagnosed as autistic and speech impaired for a minute, okay?
Okay.
And speech impaired. And so I went through a program, I think it's like Child Find, if I'm not mistaken, through Broward County,
Mhm.
and I started receiving services for her to get ABA therapy, which is therapy to
Mhm.
help not only the individual but the parents and family as well, how to communicate
Mhm.
outside of using verbal words, gestures, a little bit of sign language.
Yeah.
And I had someone coming into the home maybe twice a week, but it stopped
Mhm.
at like 3.5. So once that
Okay.
stopped, I started putting her in. I put her in. She was with me at Charles Drew Elementary, so she was in a intensive pre-K program. So basically, she's been
Mhm.
in school since she was 2. Trying to be
Okay.
this thing. A lot of early
Mhm.
intervention. Um,
Okay.
it was definitely tough because at that moment, although I was married, I was pretty much alone. He didn't understand it, and I almost lost my marriage in that part right there because
Okay.
trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes I always think that maybe he thought I was putting it on him as if
Yeah.
it had something to do with him, and it wasn't
Yeah.
like that. It's just like, listen,
Mhm.
man, dude, something wrong with my baby. Okay, our
Mhm.
baby. But
Mhm.
us mothers really
Yeah.
quick to say mine. Something is
Yeah.
wrong and something's not right. You know,
Yeah.
had a lot of supportive family and friends, and they oh, there's nothing wrong with her, and I believed that, but I also knew that she was different. So I didn't
Mhm.
believe that's something that she'll be
Was
fine.
wrong.
I know she's
Yeah.
going to be fine. but I also knew that something was different. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so fifth grade, at the age of 5, I started her at Calvary Christian. She was in their variant education classroom, and she started excelling there. And they realized, like I did, that she was more of the arts. So everything that we had to teach her had to be done in rhythm, done in song. She learned
Yeah.
puzzles. She learned how to spell her name by actually creating a picture with her name and then cutting it up like a puzzle piece. So that's how she learned how to do
I
that.
love that.
And
Yeah.
anything that I wanted her to really learn, I have to have a beat. I have to have a
Yeah.
rhythm. This baby have music in her bones, y'all. You hear me?
That's
She has
beautiful. Probably
music
because
in
you were
her
singing while
bones.
you were
Yeah,
checking
see,
with her.
I just want to say, her
Yeah.
mama sings.
Yes.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
listen, she has it
Yeah.
in her bones. She has 2 guitars. She has a keyboard in her room and several microphones. Right now, she's looking at me because she feels like I'm ignoring her, but I'm really not, Tootie. I promise you. Um, and one thing I want to say, and I hope I'm not moving all over the place, that although the process has been challenging, it can get overwhelming at times, but it's interesting and it's fun. It's never a dull moment. And
Yeah.
then
That's beautiful.
I feel like us parents and individuals that care for those with disabilities, preferably what we're talking about now, autism, we get so many wow moments.
Yeah.
Okay, because something so simple as saying "I want juice" will make you, honey, run around the house and shout, "Yes, thank you, Lord." Because you start to
Yeah.
see those little pieces of things, and I'm getting goosebumps right now. And those little things right there give you like a going on and let you know, like, listen, she was this at this point, and look at her now. She's progressing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just had to say that because it does get to a point where you do get discouraged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're tired. We're human. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest things that's more frustrating is that you're, as a parent, you want to make sure you're helping your child the best way you can. So sometimes you
Right.
may start to feel like I'm not doing enough. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Lord, am I doing enough? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those little moments will let you know, like, listen, look at this right here. You was just talking about this, and now she's doing this. My baby
Yeah.
now, she started out with 25-piece puzzles. She loved little puzzles. At the age of 10, she's at 1,000.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't even do a
And I'm not
thousand.
just talking.
I can't even do
Listen, I'm not
5.
even talking about. I'm not even talking about just opening the box and putting the puzzle together. I'm
Yeah.
talking about opening the box, putting another 2 puzzles, mix it all up together. Now you got a pile of puzzle
Wow.
pieces and sitting on her carpet and start separating them like it's nothing. Like you
Wow, that's
separating,
amazing.
the cucumbers from the tomatoes. All
Yeah.
them little pieces look the same to me.
Yeah.
So I always wonder, like, wow, I wonder what she sees. And sometimes I say, well, maybe we're the ones with the disability, and they're the ones with the ability. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
You,
That creative
you guys have
mind and
shared.
how they
Yeah.
see things. You
Yeah.
know, and hopefully I answer as much as everything that I was supposed to. But I am blessed, and I am grateful that God chose me and He trusts me to be her mom, because He know I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to dig deep to make sure she has everything she needs. I remember one time I reached out to Tori, that's on here right now. I don't know if it was at a church service or even at my aunt's house somewhere, and I was totally lost. And just sitting here while I'm listening to everyone, I'm trying not to tear up because I just got my lashes done. I don't want to
Yeah.
mess, you know, trying not to tear up. But the progress, I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I was lost. I remember when I didn't know much, like those little things that you do, like me not having the Gatorade last week. That's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
Leaving work to have
Yeah.
to take that Gatorade because that Gatorade is something extremely important to her, and me
Yeah.
not breaking down. You know what I mean? I remember when I was like, what is going on? Why I have to go through so much stuff? But now I'm like,
Yeah.
honey, child, God gave me a whole little baby jeans. You know what I say?
Yeah.
And I'm
That
That's
part.
excited and
amazing.
I'm happy.
I
She's in
love
5th
that.
grade now. She inspired me to write children's books in reference to autism. You know, that's another outlet. You know, being a children's author, and I use her gestures and her sayings that she say, and she's my co-author, and
Oh, that's
she is the main character in the books. Her good mornings, she's the her. Her good
wow.
nights, you know,
Wow.
they're funny, but they're real, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need that raw footage. We need that raw detail so that we can help, you know, even encourage us and encourage others. Don't give me
Yeah.
nothing that's flim flam. Tell me what it really is and what it's like so I can know how to deal with it when I see it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
go ahead. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm grateful for you guys having me on this platform. Um, I want to know more about Candy. The I was just listening to you, so I'm definitely gonna research and all that good stuff. But thank you just for having me. I'm excited about it, and I love the fact that now we're bringing in awareness to more
Yeah.
awareness to autism, so that it can be embraced and accepted. So, you know, people of color and minorities won't feel like it's something wrong with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's something, you know, and people won't look down on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it gets lonely
And-
sometimes, but you know, you have other people out here that's going through the process with you, and as long as we holding each other's hand and there to encourage each other, you know, piece by piece, we can make this thing work and we can get through this and be able to help others.
Right. Right.
That's what this is
Well,
about.
thank you, Bridget, for sharing that. That was really heartfelt, amazing to hear. I think it's so encouraging to hear all of your stories. We got you have an elementary schooler, we have a high schooler, I think, right, Tori? And
You're about to
we have
graduate.
someone who's an advocate. So that's just amazing. And Teresa on with an adult child, adult with autism. So that is amazing just to hear all of the stories. And I just wanted to share a little bit about myself as well. I work at Jack and Jill, which is a preschool, and there's also an elementary school attached. So I do find I'm a school social worker. You work there too? So
I went there.
You went there. Oh, wow.
Yes, back a long time ago. Yeah, I was like, Jack and Jill. Okay.
Yes, Jack and Jill is the oldest preschool in Broward County. So, yep. A lot of people probably went there. So I'm the school social worker there, and I find that a lot of children, like Bridget and Miss Tori, you guys said that you found out in toddler stage, and we're finding that a lot of the parents they're hearing from me, they're hearing from their teacher the signs that we're seeing, and maybe go get a child find referral, early steps, Fiddlers referral, and some of them give me a little pushback, and I really have to explain to them the necessity of getting this started early. So it's really nice to hear that. And I wonder, is there anything you guys would say as parents, and you too, Candy, as an advocate, for the new moms who just started out in this thing? They're hearing from their babies, preschool teacher at 1 year old, at 2 years old, we can't manage them here. A lot of times they get kicked out of daycares because the daycare doesn't have the capacity to handle them in that setting. So is there any advice you guys would give to new parents? I'll start with you, Candy, because Candy, I know you got to go a little bit sooner. So if you want to
absolutely. Yes. I mean, you know, I try to be real and authentic. I love the meme that you just posted, Lamar. I may not be an autism mom, but I call myself an autism auntie, okay? Because, you know, I'm just here for it. I'm here for the cause. You know, starting in the beginning, you know, you all shared your story about, you know, knowing that, you know, there was something a little bit different about your child. I'm a woman of faith, and I feel like most of us are. And you know, at church, you hear the story. You hear that still small voice. If you hear a still small voice, listen to that voice. You know, making sure that you know you go to your physician. You have to be your own advocate. That's something that I have a support group for families who have Black children on the autism spectrum, and that's something that we often speak about. Being, you got to advocate for your baby so that later on you're basically role modeling being an advocate, so that they can in turn, once they're of age, advocate for themselves. Listen to that still small voice. And this is if perhaps you don't have a child that's diagnosed. If you hear, oftentimes when I'm doing trainings about, again, the delayed misdiagnosis and underdiagnosis of autism, we talk about parents, and I hear you kind of ask those deep questions, the age that the children were diagnosed. Oftentimes Black children will go to their physicians around the same ages as a Caucasian parent. But unfortunately, oftentimes in our community, the doctors will say, let's wait and see, seek a second opinion. And that's why I believe, networking in the village is so important. Make sure, also you share and you speak about what you're going through with trusted individuals. That's why, I feel like my group is very important, because it's a time to speak with other, parents who've kind of been there, done that. Most of my parents have children who are diagnosed, but sometimes my work out in the community, I'll get a grandma or auntie or a cousin that say, it's not my baby, but I think something is going on and I'm not sure. I'll have them come. I say, hey, come to the support group. Let them hear the other parents, some of the things that they've gone through, so that we can encourage them and tell them why they, would want to get the diagnosis, the importance of that. And also so that they could see the success stories. You all, Teresa posted her son a few weeks ago singing. And when I tell you, this young man is amazing and very talented.
Yes.
And Bridget just shared with us about her brilliant brown baby, and how, she is intelligent. And she is bright, and my son, some of the challenges and struggles that he goes through, but he is so talented, so brilliant. Just like you said, Bridget, it might really be us who are
on the other side.
Exactly.
Right.
At the end of the day. So those are just a few small things that I would say.
Thank you so much, Sandra. That was really, really helpful. I think just coming from an advocate, how can we connect people with your support group if they want to join and find out more?
Absolutely. So Candy's Cause, we have a group that I call the Mahogany Meetup. I'm located in Palm Beach County. So the Mahogany Meetup is actually here in Palm Beach County. That's basically a group. Some people are parents. The vast majority, though, of individuals work as a professional within the autism realm. I have ABA business owners. There are therapists. There are clinicians. There are authors. Again, amazing moms and amazing dads, etc. So the Mahogany Meetup, we meet in person typically once a month. And I'll give you my email address. You can reach out to me via email. I also have a Facebook page. You can just look up Candy's Cause and you can find that. My nonprofit is brand spanking new, y'all. So
congratulations.
Thank you. But we are growing and we are thriving, and I'm blessed to continue my partnership with FAU Card. And so the support group is actually through FAU Card. And so we meet once a month on the last Wednesday of every month, which I affectionately named Wakanda Wednesday. Don't tell the people at Marvel Comics. But Wakanda Wednesday, the support group meets virtually once a month at 6 p.m. So when, parents get off, I'll provide you also with my email address. You can email me at cmckinney. So that's CMCKINNEY @FAU.edu. And I can provide you with the Zoom link. You can also go to FAU Cards. They have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, and they will post information regarding the support group. In addition to the support group, I have a task force that meets virtually the same day, Wakanda Wednesday, but the task force meets at noon. And the task force is comprised basically of all professionals and individuals who are seeking to support the Black autism community. And so I have people from early steps, you know, you all mentioned fiddlers, legal aid, etc. And so that's another time for community, and not everyone is in the Black community, but they're for basically advocates and allies of our community to come to become educated, gain more autism information. And it's also a great time of networking, and you know, a great time to find information. So I have that in-person mahogany meetup, and then I have the 2 virtual opportunities, the one at noon on the last Wednesday, and the parent support group at 6 p.m. Last, I wanted to mention, I also have a support group. I partner with some great moderators. The support group is, there's a Facebook support group page, and it's called Supporting Parents Raising Black Children with Autism. So that's a private page, because sometimes people, you know, post questions, and we want to make sure that, you know, it's a sacred place. But you can, you should be able to search for it on Facebook, and just answer the questions, and I'll admit you. And there's some great resources and useful information. I'm hoping that all of you ladies and gentlemen, I know he's already joined, will join the group, and you know, post information about your organizations. Bridget, I'm ready to buy the book, period. You know, she gonna plug that book, and you know, me and Diva, she gonna make her own puzzle for the other amazing children.
Yes,
I love that.
Absolutely, that's amazing. That's a good idea.
Listen, I try to be the plug. I try to be the connect.
Okay?
That's amazing.
Yes.
I love that, Miss Candy. That I love hearing all about what you're doing. It sounds like you have so much going in the Black community as it pertains to autism, and we want to make sure that information is accessible to anybody that watches or may watch in the future. So we'll find a way to put that on. And I want to go ahead and have Miss Tori chime back in and share anything that she would like to share for new moms that are getting this diagnosis, how she can encourage them, support them.
My advice to new moms is be vigilant. Don't ignore anything, any kind of feeling that you may have. You see something, you compare and you contrast. Don't self-doubt that mother intuition. Just like Chandra was saying, Miss Candy was saying, that's still small voice. Either if you're non-Christian, you don't believe in the Holy Spirit, then the intuition should step in. Yeah. So that's that innate kind of thing. You carried that baby, you know something. And then you can't compare and you can't contrast. But I'm a big advocate of not doing an IEP alone. Don't do IEPs alone. Don't do it.
And why would you say that, Miss Tori?
Because I am the connect, like Candy said, for all my friends, colleagues, cousins. I am the one. I'm going to come. You invite me because they can't deny you anybody. You can invite anybody to any IEP meeting that you have.
Yes,
and I'm usually the one. And I'm coming in and I'm listening and I'm doing what Teresa do on another level. I am sitting in and I'm being your ear because guess what? I got the knowledge. I know what to say. I know what it should say on that IEP. I have written so many of them. I know what should be said, and I know when you playing games. So I say do not IEP alone. Get you someone that you know that has some knowledge. Like Bridget is a school teacher. Call Candy, a social Association, get with Teresa, who knows the language of autism, who knows the language of services and resources and placement. Tag with those, and they can, guide you to somebody. Do you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody who could come and sit with me? Because I don't know what these people are telling me about my baby. I don't know. Are they trying to deny me services when I could say, no, I don't agree. Or we could go due process. And Miss Candy said it. She's affiliated with legal aid. Let's get it. Let's go all the way. So I come in to be that type of lean on shoulder. And once they see my name, because I'm 30 years in the district. So it's like, okay, okay. All right. Let me get my books and my, dot my I's, cross my T right. Because, Amber is bringing somebody. Bridget is bringing somebody. And then they won't play with you. They won't try you. So
I've had that experience too in the school. Like at our school, I've had a mom recently that brought her friend who had been in the district for years with her to a meeting that we were having, and I can just feel from a professional perspective that she was more heard and more seen as a Black mother. Just because she had someone that was willing to say, "Hey, no, we're not going to take anything." If someone, do you advocate with families currently?
Well, this is I think this is going to be my career move. A lot of people, once I retire, like how Candy has Bridget has her foundation, I'm trying to see how I want to do that. I don't know quite, but I'm going to start researching it because I think that's what I want to do. Where you call me.
Okay, so if someone wants to get in contact with you, Miss Tori, and they want you to come to their IEP meeting with them, how can they get in contact with you?
On my personal email, and that'll be mother1821@gmail.com.
Okay, mother.
And they could even write mother1821@gmail.com. They can also call me. When they email me, they can send me, whatever that preliminary. I like to read and understand also what the diagnosis, what they're looking at, what placement, or anything. So
okay, perfect. That's amazing. And I want to check in with Miss Bridget. I know, Bridget, you kind of already talked about your experiences as being a new mom and what that's like. Do you have any other supportive words of encouragement for the mom who's finding out in pre-K at 2 years old?
Yes, I do. And it's similar to what Tori said. But I would say be open-minded. And just like she said, be vigilant. Pay attention. And when you're going through the process, be intentional. And also in you being intentional, forget about you for a moment. And the reason why I say that, because sometimes when I speak to other parents, the real issue is how the fact that their child is going through this makes them feel. They start to feel like embarrassed or something like that. So I would say do whatever you can to make sure your child is good if you're not around. You know what I mean? If you're not around. And that's going to be very important. And don't turn the blind eye one moment, baby, okay? Don't turn the blind eye to anything that you see. If you think it's something wrong, go get it checked out. The worst thing you can say is, "Oh no, that's not it." But keep going back, but embrace the fact that you're feeling the way you're feeling, because sometimes as parents, we have to be strong. But if you need to have that moment, baby, you better have that moment so you don't have that moment out in the wrong spot.
Right. Okay? That's really good.
Embrace what you're feeling. I'm best friends with my feelings. If I'm feeling some kind of way, where I need to deal with me just for a moment, I'm going to have to just take that 5-10 minutes and deal with me for that moment. And once I do that, I embrace what I'm feeling, embrace what I'm feeling. Then after that, I can keep moving, because you can't embrace nothing that you don't recognize. So you kind of got to call yourself out too, So for the new moms, I would say reach out and get help from those who know the process. Ask questions. Even if you Google anything, you'll see something. And just like Miss Tori is available to help assist with IEPs, honey, when they see me coming for an IEP meeting for my baby, them people, they be like, let's just do it in the morning because I know sometimes it takes a while. It's gonna take a long time. And you know
Yeah.
why? Because we going line by line. I do not play
Mm-hmm.
when I get in that meeting about my baby. Because what
Yeah.
they try to do sometimes is speed through it. You're not about to fast talk me. And if I got a question, we need to talk about this right now. It's nothing is like, oh, we'll talk about that later. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So you got to make sure, you got to, honey, you got to have that mama bear face and have yourself
Mm-hmm.
ready, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and this, I'm not saying the school system, any system, you always going to run into somebody that might be a little lazy, which means they
Yeah.
don't want to answer the hard questions. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do the paperwork for this. They don't want to do the paperwork for that. My baby has an AT device, which is an assistant
Oh, that's
technology device,
great.
which is similar to
Yeah.
an iPad. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like to use it at home because she's comfortable with speaking with us. But in school, she types into it. It's funny because she's looking at me right now, like, why are you talking about me? But she touches the picture and it helps her
Mm-hmm.
say, I
Yep.
want to do this. Or no, can I go do this? You know what I mean? It helps her with that. But I
And
fought
did
so
that
hard
cover?
for
Was
that.
that covered by insurance?
No, I made
It
sure they put
wasn't.
that in my IEP. I kept
Okay.
I kept asking for it at the beginning, and nobody knew what I was talking about. But
Yeah.
every time we have an IEP meeting, I kept asking again, and then it got to the point where, hey, I've been asking for 2 years about a technology device to assist her with her speaking. When am I going to get this? It took a long time, but
That's
she has it now. Thank God,
that's amazing.
and it's preparing her because she's getting ready to go to middle school next year. It's going to go with her. I didn't have to pay for it. It's through
Mhm.
Broward County
That's
School
great.
Board. It's her device. I had to
That's
sign a
great.
property pass. I had to get trained on it, but it's her
Mm-hmm.
device. And you can
Yeah.
custom it to things that she like, things that she
Mm-hmm.
wants. And what I'm learning with her, hearing from the teachers and the speech pathologists, is that she'll type it, but she's gonna say it too. Most
That's
most kids
great.
just
Yeah.
yes, baby. One moment, okay. Most kids just type it and let the device speak for them, but she
Yep.
typing and talking it too. So it's helping
Yep.
her increase her
Her
vocabulary,
vocabulary.
and now she's
Mm-hmm.
able to have a little dialogue. So wonderful. Just reach out to somebody that's going through the process. I'm gonna be honest. Try to stay away from the people that don't have the experience with it, or the ones
Yeah.
that saying, "Oh, it's nothing," or "Don't worry about it," or "You tripping," or "That child gonna be
Mm-hmm.
all right." Get away from them. Get away from them
Mm-hmm.
because something is pulling on you. And just like Miss Chandra said and Tori said, you have that intuition. And us mamas, we know when something that is not right with our babies. Okay. So follow that. Follow
Okay.
your heart. That gut feeling, you will trust me. It'll lead you in the right direction. And I'm here. I'm here as well. I've sat in for some of my friends in them IEP meetings. And I don't have 30
Okay.
years in the school district, but I have almost 18. And they don't
Okay.
like when I'm there either, Tori. They don't like when I'm
I
there because I'm
love
like,
it.
no, that's not making sense, and that's not what her accommodation is. So did you provide the
Yeah.
accommodation or not? That's what I need to know. That's the
Yeah.
first thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
but they listen, they'll cross their T's and dot their I's, but get the help. Get the help
Yeah.
so you can have people walk you through this process and cling on to someone that's going through it or that has been through it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that has a child or someone that's close to them that they're helping work with, so they can help guide you and support you and give you that comfort that it might be tough right now, but every day it's gonna get better and better and better. And get the knowledge, learn too. I did a non-degree program just so I can learn how to communicate with
Yeah.
my baby. So get the
That's
knowledge,
awesome.
get the knowledge. If you can't go to a school, get with somebody,
Yeah.
hearing and listening to someone else, you can learn that way as well.
Yep. I think that was
So
really good, Bridget. And
Miss
you had
Huggins,
something?
yes, babe. Miss Huggins commented that there's an organization that will assist with purchasing AAC devices if insurance or district won't cover. So, Miss Huggins, if you know, put the information so we can get that information out. If you
Okay.
know what the organization is.
Yes, that's awesome.
Okay.
And she
And
is a
before
part
we
of my
jump,
meetup
That's
group.
awesome.
She's a part of the
okay,
Mahogany Meetup.
I love it.
Okay.
Mahogany
Okay, I'm
meetup.
Amazing.
Okay.
coming to the
Mhm.
meetup.
So I appreciate you sharing that, Bridget. I do want, before we jump to Teresa, I want to ask you, how can people get the book? How can people connect with you for advocacy and support and things of that nature?
Okay, to www dot two
Oh yeah.
TOOT,
Bridget,
the letter
you going
N,
in and out. Start over,
Ozzy,
Yeah.
Bridget.
AU.
Start over.
Okay, is this better? This better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So you can go on to an Ozzy website, which is www dot TOOT, the letter N, Ozzy, AUSSIE.com. On that platform, you will learn a little bit about Toot. You'll learn about the foundation. The email is on there as well, and it's the same thing. The email is Toot in Ozzy, how it's spelled on the screen, TOOTNAUSSIE at gmail.com. You can also pick up your phone and call me,
Okay.
754-248. Yeah, this is the business line. This one ring all the time for things like this.
Okay. Can you give us that
754
number?
248 2043, and the Gmail 248 2043, and the email has the letter N in the middle between Toot and
Yeah,
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
So it's the letter N, Toot and Ozzy. Yeah, TOOT, the letter N, AUSSIE at gmail.com.
Okay.
Kind of like the title, the Toot and Ozzy Foundation, the letter N is in the middle.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Great.
And I'm on social media. Social media, you can go
Okay.
to Toot and Ozzy on Instagram, Toot and Ozzy Foundation on Facebook, and you can connect
Okay.
with me that way. Yes.
Okay. All things to and Ozzy across all platforms.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can I just say
Okay.
one more thing?
Yes.
The
Please.
foundation,
Yes.
the name Toot and Ozzy, well, her nickname is Toot, but Ozzy
Mm-hmm.
is, if you go on the website, Ozzy is the nickname that I gave autism. That's like a little puzzle piece
Oh.
that I made into a
Oh, thank you,
character.
because I was going to ask that question. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Ah.
Yes, Toot is her nickname because she like little toot skirts. She's
Yes.
very
Yeah.
frisky. And
Yes.
Ozzy, so Ozzy is a part of her. Autism is a part of who she is. So Ozzy, I made
Yeah.
into a character in the
I
book,
love that.
and
Oh, that is
that stands for
beautiful.
autism. Yes, Toot and Ozzy. Yeah.
That is adorable. I love it.
That is too cute. I like that. I like that.
Okay, okay.
Thank
So
you.
I want to get to Miss Teresa before we close out. Miss Teresa, I saved you for last because you have the oldest child. So I think you can give us some perspective to wrap this up. And I have a different question for you, and it really is, how can you encourage parents as they're in this journey? They may have elementary, middle, high school kids, but how can you encourage them to see the light for their adult life and what that's like?
The best advice that I could possibly give to the younger moms or the younger kids with autism is to be careful of labels, because labels in the beginning will limit your child throughout life. You
Mm,
got to be careful of those labels so you don't have those limitations, because just because your child has autism or any mental health disability at all does not mean that they automatically have to be limited, because this
mm,
world just opens up different for them. It's like a Pandora's box. You got to
Yes.
have the correct key and put it in the correct space in order for it to open up for you. Everybody might have a little bit of something going on. You just got to find your niche, your strength,
mm,
your weaknesses, and then recalculate and do things according to what you can do. And also, once your child is about middle school age, high school age, start looking at vocational rehabilitation, because VR is going to help with special trainings, work experiences, OJTs, those talking devices that you couldn't get through in elementary school or middle school. VR can help with that. VR can help with those psychological reports that we need to get, and we don't have to pay for it because they're going to cover the funding. They do the psychological, they do the work assessments, they basically start paving the way for adulthood so that your child now can be independent and does not have to so heavily lean on you because they now know the proper way for them to learn in order to be self-sufficient, in order to be independent. So you have to plan for a future that does not include you, mom, or you, dad,
Mm,
because
that's
you're
a
not
good point.
promised tomorrow. And that, but that child still has to go on and still
Oh,
needs
that's
to
so
know
good.
what
That's
foundations
right.
are out there for them. So I try to talk to my son and tell him, one, I teach him about his disability. I tell him first and foremost, it does not limit you. It just it's just a diagnosis, just like I have a cold or I have diabetes or I have, hypertension. You go to the doctor, you learn how to deal with it. So when you pick up a diagnosis of autism, you go to the doctor, you learn how to deal with it. You go to a therapist, you learn how to deal with it. You look through the resources in the community, you learn how to deal with it. So it does not deal with you. You do not allow these people, these schools, these jobs, do not allow these places to put labels on your child because they will never lift once they become adults.
I love that,
Right.
Teresa. That was so helpful. And I love what you said. Plan for a future that does not include you, mom. And that's so important for like younger moms to hear. Like, what does that look like? Because I'm sure,
Yes.
pretty sure that's a worry for younger moms as they're growing into their child with autism. So thank you for sharing that. Any other closing final remark? Oh, Teresa, do you have any ways that people can reach you if they need support, anything that you do specifically in the community?
Yes, well, actually, what I do, I'm actually the care coordinator of basically community resource services. I connect our clients to things within the community or different agencies to help them out. And the agency that or the foundation that I work for is called Els for Autism. That's ELS. The founder is actually Ernie Els, who is a professional golfer. He actually started this foundation for his son, and he has this whole campus that's basically umbrellaing the needs of his child. Now, some of us don't have that that
Right.
Right.
luxury, but
Right.
he created this and then he opened it up to a community and said, "Hey, I want everybody to experience this." We have
That's
mental
great.
health therapies there, occupational therapy, speech therapy. You can actually get your toddler diagnosed. You have special therapists there that can do the ADOS, which is like a almost $10,000
Awesome.
test for
Mm-hmm.
free at this
Mm-hmm.
foundation.
Yep.
And then they
Wow.
have two charter schools on campus, one for I call it the littles, that's the elementaries, and then they have the high school. And once these kids go from elementary to high school, and then all of a sudden, okay, I'm aging out at 22. What do I do next? Well, that's where I kind of come in because I do adult services care coordination, and then I basically help them to find the resources that they're going to need in order to continue on living or to find independence. They can do housing, they can go to school, they can, start working right away with work experience training. We're now offering a pre-vocational training because some of our parents are kind of scared putting their child out there. I'm not quite ready for my child to go to work just yet because I don't know if they can handle that. So we
Yeah.
have pre-vocational training that they can sit in the classroom. They learn how to do interviews. They learn how to dress. They learn how to speak properly and what to say when they go out to these to apply for these jobs. We take them to do tours of different work industry sites. We let them volunteer there to kind of see what their niche is, to figure out their strengths and weaknesses. And it's not something where they only have a couple of hours or maybe a day or two. They can stay in this training for as long as they like until they feel comfortable. So it's almost as if they have an additional adult day training program, but they are
Wow.
learning work experience. And then once they gain this experience, they can apply for these different jobs because now they have the skills. They're not exactly non-skilled workers now because they've done this training. Brandon right now is doing a work experience training at Marriott on Singer Island, and he's working in food and beverage because he wanted to be a concierge greeter. So he's in this 10-week program, and once he's completed this training, Marriott has the option of either hiring him permanently with them, or he can take those skills that he's learned there over the 10 weeks and go apply at another hotel, because he has that experience now. And
That's so
That's
good.
awesome.
most of these places are the neurodiverse, it's something new that, but everybody wants to be PC. They want to be in the right vein. This world is changing, and so many I got you moments. If you go somewhere and you apply and you get turned down, and a person can easily say, "Oh, they turned me down because I'm on the spectrum. I have ASD." Nobody wants to get
Yeah,
caught with their pants down. So therefore,
yeah,
that's a good training for him to have if he has that experience under his belt and he goes and apply for a job. If you can't tell me why you're not hiring me or what
mhm,
disqualified me and made that person better, then we have a problem because I'm
yeah,
going to go get a lawyer now, and I have a mom that has
Yeah.
some connections, So he loves it though. I mean, just to be getting out of the house and to feel that importance, it gives them a sense of integrity. It
yeah,
lets them, feel like they are valued in the world. And when he comes home and somebody's giving him, I don't care if it's a $2 tip, honey, you should see the smile on this kid's face because he is so
Oh,
happy that he went out
yes.
and he made some money to put in his wallet. And I love it when he comes home and he can have $10. And he's like, "Mom, I'm gonna buy you a house." I say, "You get it, son. I'm ready.
Come
I
on
I'm gonna
here.
love
wait
That's
till
it.
what I'm talking
you
about.
Yes,
save you
Yes.
save them $10 and you gonna eventually buy mommy a house and I'm gonna be ready to live in it too."
oh,
But
Right.
I
you
love
have
that.
to give them that dignity, to at least give
Yes.
me the a chance to see if I can do it before you tell me I can't, you know.
Mhm,
So I love working with the adults because you have some that have kind of come through the ranks and been beaten down and bullied and told what they can't do so much. When they come to me and they tell me, "I want to be a pilot, I want to be a policeman," of course you can. But let's
yeah,
figure out how we're going to do this the safest in the smoothest way possible to get you from A to B, if that's what you want to do. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to figure out that we're not qualified to be a police officer, but maybe we can help in the office. Maybe we can work at the desk. Maybe we can help, in some
yeah,
other capacity within the police department. So in
mhm,
their mind, they've accomplished their goal. But you can't
yeah,
just say no and shut the door on them because they don't
mhm.
deserve that. They deserve a chance.
Absolutely.
That's really good.
But
That is
Thank
awesome.
y'all.
my email is my name, Teresa.McCray, MCCRAY,
Okay.
at lsforautism.org. That was THERESA.McCray, MCCRAY, at L's for Autism. Not only do I work for my clients and my adults on the foundation, but I also do outreach within the communities. I love underserved communities and I love helping people of color. I actually got with Lamar and we came up with this term blottism. Like we're gonna attack the black
Yes.
communities that have this autism thing and make it not such a taboo thing with them. And they're gonna open up and they're gonna come seeking help. And that's what I like to do. I like to be that
One
help.
more time, that email address, Teresa McCray,
Teresa.McCray at L's
dot McCray.
ELS for FOR autism.org.
Miss Teresa, are you local in Fort Lauderdale?
I'm actually in Palm Beach County.
Okay,
So,
okay.
and the foundation is actually in Jupiter.
Okay, that's what I just want to know because you stay at a location. I was like, I'd never heard of it, so I said she got to either be in Dade or
Mhm.
Palm Beach.
It's
Okay,
Palm Beach, and there's no A there. Whoever typed that in, there's
Oh,
no. It's
No, it's just ELS for
correct.
I thought I
autism.
heard that. Okay, Lord
Mhm.
Jesus.
does your agency help with driver's education?
We don't specifically, but I do have some resources as to who can. The
Okay,
Palm Beach County Council Safety Council actually helps up this way. And then
Okay.
211 actually has resources that can help with that. And also, like I said, like I mentioned before, VR can definitely help with um, driving
Right.
school now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Because Torque he want to drive.
Oh, go
Okay.
Tori.
Wow. You
Listen,
guys have been amazing. Yeah.
they haven't they? You have two. You have two, my lovely co-hosts. You just took this thing, and I was just so happy, like a little kid in the candy store. I said I can relax, and she took over the show. I love it.
I think Miss
I
Torres got to go. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Well, we're wrapping up
thank
because we want
you.
to be mindful of everyone's time. But thank you, Miss Torres, for all that you've shared. You've had some great information for us. So we have your connects, and we will hopefully get people to contact her. So go ahead,
Yes, and I
Mr.
just want to say we're going to continue to do this. What I want to do is I want to bring men because we have autism dads that I want to include, like Brother LaRon, like Mr. Dante, like, we have autism dads out there that are doing the work as well. And I want to bring more young people that are just starting and getting the information to hear their voice next year or whenever we can to bring the conversation again forward. So I thank you guys and thank you for watching. Thank y'all for your responses and your questions. This has been the Lamar Walden podcast, Inclusive Talk podcast, and we'll see you next year. Autism Acceptance Month. Let's go. All right.
Have a good night.
Alrighty.